Okay. Hi, how are you?
Mr. Buchanan, have a seat.
Thank you.
Martin, have you sent over the PDF to our friends here?
Yes, I have.
All right, wait a sec. We are on friends here.
Quiet. All right. So, how many people have you talked to about this stock?
A few. There's definitely some interest.
Which is why you're here talking to us. The wrong number. Sounds like there's a lot of interest.
All right, a few people have invited us in just to laugh at me on this deal. Is that you? Is that what this is going to be?
That's not what this is. That's just how Dara is. Let's see what you've got.
Sorry.
Smell that? What's that smell?
Dara's new cologne?
Opportunity.
No. Money. I smell money.
See, this is your old buddy Netflix. The one that ran Blockbuster out of business. Brick and mortar Blockbuster was simple. People came in, rented movies, walked out. Streaming, in general, not so much. More and more companies walk into the streaming craze because they see how profitable it is. And for every company that walks in, Netflix loses a little bit more of its edge. Now, we see streaming companies come in: Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, even fucking Peacock. And the list continues to go on.
The more the market gets saturated, the less that Netflix has to offer. What are you going to do? Subscribe to them for their documentaries?
Actually, I like them actually.
I'm sorry, whose payroll are you on?
Oh, I'm not actually paid, no.
Shut up. Either way, we see the more originals that go down the drain, the less stable Netflix is. And then,
And what's that supposed to be?
that's their stock price. And who comes to pick up the ashes? Disney. The big giant that's been picking up half the industry already. They've bought Pixar. They've bought ESPN. They got Nat Geo. They got Marvel. They bought out Lucasfilm. They bought 20th Century Fox. And with that, they got Hulu. And they had the bank account to do so much more.
Well, they just bought Fox, so nothing big's probably coming for another 5 years.
And that's where you're wrong. Even now, Disney's buying out small airline companies to make its own frickin' airline. Disney's also doing other things to generate more cash flow, like bringing on the Disney Wish to its cruise line fleet, and also making Disney Forward happen.
What the hell is Disney Forward?
Glad you asked. Disney Forward is basically when COVID was in session, Disney had no parks open. So the Anaheim city government was starved out of its money. So now Disney is kind of going forward, making graphics, making drawings and stuff of things that they could do, and telling the Anaheim government, hey, if you just let us move this road over here, let us expand over here, then think about all the money that we can make with this thing or this thing or this thing.
So, COVID helped the Disney flex on Anaheim?
Yes.
Okay, so what share price do you get with all the crap piled up?
$186.61 and possibly higher.
Disney is undervalued? How come no one is talking about this?
Are you completely sure of the math?
Of course I am. Look at him. That's my quant.
Your what?
My quant. My quantitative, my math specialist. Look at him. Do you see anything different about him? Look at his face. Look what's on it. This kid is an unpaid intern, a college kid doing this shit for school credit and job experience. If he fucks up, he'll be shunned from the banking world until he's 73. He wakes up 4 a.m. to work out for 4 hours and then comes home to work for me for 10 hours and then does his homework on the weekend. He double and triple checks his numbers. Yes, I'm sure.
Actually, I already have a job offer at this bank, and I don't wake up at 4 a.m. It's more like 6 a.m., and I only work out for about an hour and a half.
Actually, Martin, you talk and try to sound smart, please.
Okay. All right. Well, in 2020, we saw a negative 6.1% change in Disney's growth percentage due to COVID. In 2021, we're positive again, but not by any huge amount. We expect 2022 to be the year where things really begin flying, as we forecast 15% growth, followed by an 8, 7, and 6% growth in the 3 years after. Our cost of goods sold is in the mid $20 million range for the next few years, and it will be a trailing number because as Disney goes through the years, the cost of streaming and attractions will begin costing less as the infrastructure is already there. We assumed a 26% tax rate per Biden's administration and assumed that cost of goods sold as a percentage of sales is at 32.7% based on the average from previous years. I then factored in the fact that depreciation, capital expenditures, liabilities, etc., would remain consistent as we don't expect those to change much after every year. As far as sales percent growth, we had a rough year at negative growth. However, this is because parks and hotels were closed because of COVID. Because of this, like I mentioned earlier, we will see around a 5% growth as parks are not fully open yet in 2021, and things are just beginning to reopen now. However, as things do slowly reopen, many people will still be extremely COVID conscious, and this is why our growth digit is not huge. But by 2022, though, like I said, we will see a huge surge in travel. This will allow Disney to raise costs because you and everyone you know will still buy Disney and still come to our parks, and you know why? Because we're Disney.
All right, Martin, let's relax.
So you're offering to let us buy Disney as a long-term investment?
That is right.
But wait, Netflix beats Disney in ARPU. During Disney's past earnings call, the CFO stated that Disney Plus's ARPU was $5.61. This is a third of Netflix's reported ARPU of $14.25. Netflix has been able to increase its prices over the years and still maintain a solid foundation of subscribers. It has proven that it could do so. There is no telling that Disney will be able to do the same.
ARPU? What the hell is that? Is that like the accident that you had because you forgot to eat your Fiber One?
Actually, ARPU stands for average revenue per user, and that's actually because Disney Plus is still a very new service and has room for price growth as well as its growing user base.
I'm sorry, did I ask for your help?
Sorry.
In addition, Netflix is currently the world's largest subscription streaming service with approximately 200 million subscribers at the end of 2020. Disney's numbers are just half that.
All right. Who the hell brought the Netflix show?
Amber is our entertainment and streaming analyst.
And also a large fan of Netflix.
Either way, Disney Plus started up less than 2 years ago and already has more than 100 million subscribers and is planning to surpass 200 million in the next couple years.
Well, Netflix's global presence and availability in more than 190 countries makes it well known across the globe.
I'm sorry, and Disney isn't well known across the globe? Like, you having 190 countries already established on your streaming service just limits your growth rate. Like, you're losing ways to expand, and you're slowly, like, losing your ability to have ready content. Like I said, companies are straight up taking away your platform.
The past couple of years, Netflix has dedicated millions to producing its own Netflix originals and its own content to retain and bring in new subscribers. Just this past year, Netflix original content led them to 24 Oscar nominations. No other streaming service has ever had that many Academy Award nominations.
Yes, because there has not been any other streaming services available to create original content for a while. The only other one is like Hulu, and that's actually live TV. These past couple of years is when we've seen companies making their own streaming services. And I can guarantee that Disney Plus and even like HBO Max has way more Oscar nominated like shows or movies on their streaming service than Netflix does in general.
But even with the numerous competitors circulating the market, Netflix still has significant subscriber growth. Diving deeper into the company's financials, we can see that Netflix asset turnover far exceeds Disney's. In 2020, Netflix was able to generate more than double the amount in sales from its assets compared to Disney. In terms of solvency, Netflix's liabilities to asset ratio in 2020 was 0.42 compared to Disney's 0.56, making Netflix a safer play in the long run.
It's not, though. Is it really safer in the long run? Like, nobody is questioning Disney's solvency at all, whatsoever. Especially not when they're buying freaking airplanes. Like, think about the asset turnover and the revenue of the assets. Like, think about it as it is in general. It's revenue to assets of the company. This is low for Disney just because Disney is massive. Like, think about how many assets they have in their company right now. This includes land, property, theme parks, buses, cruise ships, warehouses, equipment, retail stores, and again, freaking airplanes now. Like, Disney has not stopped and will not stop. Their bank account and their hold on the general consumer is just way too big.
Enough of this. If Disney is so solid, then why doesn't it have an all buy rating?
Because all of the other analysts are too busy looking at IPOs and growth companies to give a rat's ass about a mature company. They're all idiots not looking at the intrinsic value of Disney's name and nevertheless the year-over-year growth rates we've seen.
Wait, what the hell are you talking about intrinsic value? What are the growth rates?
Disney consistently meets 6 to 8% growth year over year, and we're predicting a 3.5% growth rate in perpetuity.
3.5%. That's insane.
Yeah, that 3.5% is right. And to prove I'm not insane, here is UCSB professor Scott Fulkerson to tell you about Disney's name value.
See, I'm a parent, right? I have a lovely wife and two beautiful girls. I kind of had to take my kids to Disneyland to be, quote, a good parent. See, the last time we went to Disneyland, the prices were $120 each. What is this? Such BS. So I paid it, and the next thing you know, a surveyor from the gate asked me, if we were to raise the prices of tickets, would you still come to Disneyland? And in my head, I'm like, heck no, absolutely not. But I just can't say no in front of my kids. I have to go for them, no matter the price. So I told her yes, I would. See, the Disney name has a weird monopoly on it itself in a way that no other brand does. They are able to raise prices to keep up with inflation just because they can. I mean, nobody's going to stop watching Disney movies or not go to Disney theme parks. Am I right? Especially if they have kids. Oh, having Disney Plus is a huge game changer to distract the kids. Disney's able to keep growth well above inflation, no matter what it does and what kind of prices it represents.
Are you
If the
sure
growth rate
Disney
really
can keep up with inflation and
3.5%
rising
isn't
prices?
correct?
So you're telling me that no matter the inflation, Disney will just raise prices and no one is going to care?
Precisely.
Jesus.
You want to know the best part about this?
What about it?
Disney Plus will most likely go up in price in the future so that the company can make more money off of it. Consumers will complain, but nobody will unsubscribe.
This is just stupid.
We saw that Disney was diversified enough to get through COVID with most of its revenue stream cut off. Disney Plus wasn't even positive throughout the pandemic, but Disney was able to stomach it all because they're just that solid. If you want to win, you bet on the house of mouse. 100 million users subscribed to Disney Plus when quarantine was in session within 16 months of launch, and yet they're expecting even more people to subscribe to the platform. They have leverage to do things like Disney Forward because of COVID, and further their expansion into places where they couldn't have gone before. Disney has places to go after COVID. Netflix doesn't. Disney's undervalued. Netflix is over here overvalued by $200 and pulling crap on their 10K, saying that their par value is 1/10 of a cent rather than 1 cent. So yeah, you should invest in Disney.
Well, shit, Steven.
Maybe it is worth the time after all.
Just send us your numbers and we'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds like a plan.